I'll be the first to admit, the weather yesterday was beautiful. Could have been a little warmer for this time of the year, but nevertheless, a light breeze, quote unquote, but still enjoyable. And man, did that allow me to get a lot of stuff done outside. Been itching to go outside and get stuff done, because you know me, I'm all about stuff and getting stuff done. It is Tuesday, the 3rd of May, 2022, and as promised, people, I did review yesterday's podcast. And in my defense, I said it could be confusing and could easily be misunderstood. The first thing I noticed is I should have titled it Perspective, because son of a bitch, I said it at least 5 times. But it isn't easy winging these things, you know what I mean? When you're just relying on your own mind to cop up the info you need from a recall basis. And I didn't mean to confuse anyone. People were surrounded. I've said this before. I look out on the wall. I look at the horizon, not the horizon, the horizon, and I see multi-threats, asymmetrical warfare coming at us from all fronts. So I did not mean to imply to be just one thing or the other. Either you're going to get nuked or microwaved. No, I didn't mean that at all. Some will be nuked, some will be cooked, some diseased, some shot. All of us invaded from the southern and northern borders. Are you aware? China, that's how Trump said it, love it, has trained troops in both Mexico and especially Canada. And don't let that pink-eyed critter Trudeau throw you off. He is red through and through. Ever hear about the landing strip China wanted to buy? China in Texas. Oh, you haven't heard about that? Why don't you Google how much U.S. business and land China already does own? Be interesting. Yeah. Can't happen here. Nope. Won't happen here. China never do that. Would our government never allow it? Of course not. And on the atomic vets that are not clogging up the VA hospitals. You know, I didn't make that clear. You need to ask yourself why. And look at all the sailors from the nuclear navy going back to the 1950s with the Nautilus. Look at the horror of it all as the thousands die of radiation poisoning. Said no one ever. Again, why? Navy's been playing with nukes since the 1950s, people. I told you about the submarines. They're stuck on board with the goddamn reactor. Radiating, no doubt. Unbelievable. And why? No word about the atomic veterans clogging up the VA hospitals. Why no news about the nuclear navy clogging up the VA hospitals? Because it's fear porn. It's bullshit. Now, moving on. Back when Russia first invaded, those goddamn Russians first invaded the Ukraine, I'd go over to the Bonnepeter pit, and people, I'll tell you what, I felt like the proverbial unwanted red-haired stepson. Yep, man, I was surrounded. I was all alone. Ukraine good. Those poor people. Putin bad. Those goddamn Russians. I was inundated with it. I was the only one saying, slow down, people. It's not what you think it is. But, you know, I've been known to be accused of being full of shit. But when the facts come out in the wash, I'm often more right than not right. See, it's hard to be humble, people. It's hard to be humble. Okay, now, again, all that kept in mind, keep this in mind, with the glaring hypocrisy that no one gives a flying fuck about Yemen, Iraq, Afghanistan. We're starving the Afghanistani people right now. Yeah, because more useless eaters got to go. Venezuela. Boy, this list could be long. We'd go into countries into Africa. So, you know, the hypocrisy was just clearing. Everybody all of a sudden just jumped through their asshole and gave a shit about the Ukraine, but no other countries. Amazing. So 2 months ago, we got into it. Now, what do we know now? Well, let's do a little Tucker Carlson recap, people. And I think this is important. And I know some of you don't like Tucker, controlled opposition, but they got to tell you the truth once in a while. Here we go.
Now, there are a lot of things going on here, a lot of threads, as in any big story, but on some level, the core motivation is just that simple. Here's what we know it's not. We know the war in Ukraine is not about saving democracy. Please. We know it's not about protecting the sacred borders of a sovereign country. We know the Biden administration doesn't care about those principles because they run our country, and we see how they act. And we know for dead certain, and this comes as sad news to a lot of Americans who are compassionate, but we know now that the war in Ukraine is certainly not about helping the Ukrainian people, those poor people. Many more Ukrainian civilians will die, certainly, thanks to the Biden administration's policies. If you wanted to save Ukraine, its people, its infrastructure, its nation, you would push for a settlement now. You would have done it 2 months ago, but they're not doing that. They projected it out of hand. So that's not their goal, saving Ukraine, saving human lives. No, that's not their goal. Instead, the war in Ukraine is designed to cause regime change in Moscow. They want to topple the Russian government. That would be payback for the 2016 election. So this is the logical, maybe the inevitable end stage of Russiagate. Now, we should have seen this coming because they said it out loud years ago. Here's Adam Schiff from 2 years ago predicting it, saying it. Watch this.
As one witness put it during our impeachment inquiry, the United States aids Ukraine and her people so that we can fight Russia over there and we don't have to fight Russia here.
So we arm Ukraine so we can fight Russia. Now, how many Americans, whatever you think of Putin, probably not much, justifiably, probably don't have a lot of interest in moving to Russia, but how many Americans then or now want to, quote, fight Russia? A very small group. But Adam Schiff said it out loud at the time in the House of Representatives. We don't arm Ukraine so we can help the Ukrainians. They're merely unfortunate pawns in all of this. We arm Ukraine so that we can punish Russia.
Okay, people. You know, like I said, it's, oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. But of course, I'm too humble as your flexible, fluid, most incredibly humble messenger on the wall. That was, Adam Shifty Schiff. He's the one that headed up the Trump presidency hearings. Oh, come on, why can't I think of that? Not bankruptcy, for Christ's sake. Not recall. Well, you know what I'm talking about. I'm starting to sound like Biden. You know the thing, man. Come on, why can't I think of that? Oh, mental block. Well, it's only 3:45. All right, so we're 2 months into it. What do we know? What I tried to tell you 2 months ago, people. It's a scam. Did you ever guys happen to realize that war is a very effective and efficient way of killing people? It absolutely is. Don't doubt me on this. And you know, from the perspective, oh God, I'm only going to say it one time, of our masters of the plantation, you know the ones, they don't really give a shit if it's dead Russians, dead Ukrainians, or dead Americans, just as long as some of the useless eaters kick off, called the herd. What did Harari say? What are we going to do with all the surplus people? Well, shit, kill a bunch of them in wars. So there we go. So people scammed again and again and again, and still most of the people I come in contact with just don't get it. Nope, they were diehards. Poor Ukrainians. Nobody gives a shit about the Ukrainians. Okay, except some of the dumb drunks down at the bottom Peter pit. In other news, and then we will wrap this up quick like. You guys come across that Nina Jankowicz? Biden's pick for the head up the George Orwell's director of the Ministry of Truth. Did you guys see that pathetic video of her singing a Mary Poppins song? You gotta be shitting me. So now I'm looking into this Scary Poppins, and I've seen her picture, and I'm looking at her and I'm going, you know, there's something about this Nina chick. And I do keep, I think, my good subs here. And, oh, by the way, welcome aboard to the new subs. I keep a vast archive on the Murray. And I did some serious research, and you're not going to believe it. Son of a bitch. Nina Jankowicz is a distant relative of the Murray. Go figure. Never fails. Every effing time. Okay, how about the, could be discussed and settled up here by the end of May, the WHO Pandemic Treaty, WHO, World Health Organization. You know, Bill Gates, number 2 funder up. Yeah, people, this isn't a good one, because a treaty that is ratified by the Senate, signed off on by the President, supersedes constitutional law. And in the future, in the next pandemic, you know what's going to happen to you? You won't have to bitch about your governor. You won't have to bitch about, well, I wish I lived in a blue state instead of a red state. Because they will tell you, lock them down, mask them up, take away their birthdays. Something you ought to look into. Now, we've got another situation brewing. I wonder if I can call this up. Mayorkas, you know who he is, right? The Director of Homeland Security. Again, a distant relative of the Murrays. He readies for 500,000 illegals per month at border once Biden nixes Title 42. Title 42, people, is an old World War II thing on immigration, that if the people coming across, the immigrants, are sickly, pukely, weakly, and they don't have to let them in because it might make a threat, cause a threat to the, God damn it, it just hit me, Trump's impeachment hearings. There you go, Adam Shifty shipped. Oh, we talked about him in a blog. So Biden wants to get rid of Title 42, but our good Director of Homeland Security, who cannot protect the southern border, says we can handle 500,000 illegals per month. Amazing. In yesterday's podcast, you just slipped out, I mentioned BlackRock Vanguard. Well, guess what, people? BlackRock Vanguard, when I told you they're buying up all the homes, people are selling their homes to BlackRock and Vanguard. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, another distant relative of Murray's, says it's time to force people's behavior to change, quote unquote. Guess what? BlackRock and Vanguard have been gradually gobbling up ownership of the means of production and now intend, I'm reading from an article here, to lord it over the masses by centralizing all food production technologies in the United States and enslaving everyone under their control. The top 3 shareholders of CD Industries Holdings, the world's largest fertilizer company, include both BlackRock and Vanguard. BlackRock and Vanguard are also the top shareholders in Union Pacific. Yep, you know, that railroad giant, and moves fertilizer and other agricultural inputs all across the country. The world's top 10 food companies are also largely owned by both BlackRock and Vanguard. These include Nestle, PepsiCo, General Mills, Kellogg's, Associated British Foods, Mondelez, Mars, Danone, Unilever, and Coca-Cola. Unbelievable. Okay, now you know what? Canadian CN Railroad, guess who owns that? Major shareholder. Oh, Bill Gates. So one's buying up all the farmland, the other ones are buying up all the food production. Nothing to see here, people. No conspiracy, not never. And a couple more items, news you might use. Retail diesel, national average at the truck stops, $5.28 a gallon. I think that works out to about 81 cents a mile. You get around the 5 to 6 mile gallon range. Then did you see the ass clowns, the delegation to the Ukraine? Yep, Nancy Pelosi. Shifty Adam shipped. Birds of a feather flock together, and so do pigs and swine, people. Now, where's Biden? Why do we have 2 congressional, well, there was actually 4 or 5, going to the Ukraine negotiating with Zelensky? Where's the Biden administration? Where's the Secretary of State? Where's the Defense Secretary? Oh, they were there about a couple of weeks ago. Nothing to see here again, people. They want a war. Lots of ways to kill people. Wars happen to be a very efficient and effective way of doing it. It's just common sense. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see this either, people. It's just the way it is. What are we going to do with all those useless people? Useless eaters. You got to cull them. Cull the herd. For the health of plantation. It's only business, don't you know? Anyway, I think it's going to be another beautiful day. Man, have I got a shitload of stuff to do. But I've been getting a lot of stuff done.